Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AD&D Second Edition Player's Handbook Read-Through. Today, we are going to talk about injury and death
Woo.
and all the things that happen when you get injured. Can
And
you die
die.
from it? What are wounds? Is damage special? Well, we're going to find out right now.
I want to know what happens after I die.
Well, we're going to find that out too. Sometimes no degree of luck, skill, ability, or resistance to various attacks can prevent harm from coming to a character. The adventuring life carries with it unavoidable risk. Sooner or later, you are going to be hurt. To allow characters to be heroic and for ease of play, damage is handled abstractly in the AD&D game. All characters and monsters have a number of hit points. The more hit points he has, the harder he is to defeat and or kill. Damage is subtracted from the character's total. Should one of the players hit an ogre in the side of the head for 8 points damage, these 8 points are subtracted from the ogre's total hit points. The damage isn't applied to the head or divided amongst different areas of the body. Hit point loss is cumulative until a character dies or has a chance to heal. This is easy, right? Unlike in other games, hit points are not distributed amongst the body. Like if I do 1/5 of your total hit points to your arm, I cut off your arm. No. There are things in this game, swords of sharpness, that can cut off a limb, but that's a special attack rule. There is no, I want to cut off his finger unless he's completely held and you're torturing him and then you're a bad guy. Wounds. When a character hits a monster or vice versa, damage is suffered by the victim. The amount of damage depends on the weapon or method of attack. Table 44, all weapons are rated for the amount of damage they inflict to small, medium, and large targets. This is a die range, 1d8, 2d6, whatever. Each time a hit is scored, the appropriate dice are rolled and the damage is subtracted from the attacked person's or thing's hit point total. Sometimes damage is listed as a die range along with a bonus. The Troll's Claw attack above is a good example. This bonus may be due to high strength, magic weapons, or whatever. Doesn't matter. It says you get a D8 plus whatever. That means you roll the D8 and then add the whatever.
Specialization,
for magical
baby.
for magical weapons, this is pretty easy. You have a +1 weapon. At the end, you get +1 damage. Sometimes damage listed is a die roll. I did that already. Sometimes an attack has both a die roll and a damage multiplier. The number rolled on the dice is multiplied by the multiplier to determine how much damage is inflicted. This occurs mainly in backstabbing attempts. Mostly, especially at lower levels in backstabbing attempts. In cases where the damage is multiplied, only the base damage caused by the weapon is multiplied. The bonus, the plus whatever, is added to at the end. A lot of people get this one wrong. For example, let's say your thief has a dagger +2. Dagger does 1d6 damage +2. And he goes for a backstab. He stabs in the back. Successfully stabs in the back. And the multiplier for his level is ×2. So you roll the d6. Let's say he rolls a 4. You times that by 2. That's 8. Then you add in the bonus of the magical bonus of the dagger. Boom. If it's a strength modifier, same thing. Double dice. Then add the modifier after the doubling. Not before the doubling, after the doubling.
I will tell you that most of the people that I played with do it wrong, but they know they're doing it wrong.
Yes. That's called a house rule. That's fine.
Well, right, exactly. It's a house rule. And I understand where they're coming from. I've done it both ways. I don't know which way I prefer. By both ways, I mean, as the rule's written there, only doubling the dice. I've also done it double or triple or whatever, if it's a backstab, everything. I don't have a preference. I just make sure that however we do it, we're consistent across the board, and that's where we play. I can understand the folks who are like, it's just kind of a letdown when I can't double everything when I've gained these levels, and oh look, I rolled the 2. And wow. And I understand the point. Just remember, that if you get to do it, so do the NPCs.
Yeah.
That's the big
So
thing.
you'll be taking more as well. So keep that in mind. And then we get to special damage. Getting hit by weapons or monsters isn't the only way you can get hurt. The world is full of danger for the poor, hapless player characters. Dangers the DM can occasionally spring on them with glee. That's a little adversarial. I don't, that's kind of mean. And here are some of the nastier forms. Falling. Player characters have a marvelous and, to the DM, vastly amusing tendency to fall off things, generally from great heights and almost always onto hard surfaces. While the falling is harmless, the abrupt stop at the end causes damage. When a character falls, he suffers 1d6 points of damage for every 10 feet fallen to a maximum of 20d6. Here's your first edition Fireball, people. It's called Falling. There you go. Now, why does it max out? Terminal velocity. Now, technically, I think you'd reach terminal velocity before 200 feet. Maybe?
I don't know. It's
I don't know either.
9.81
But
meters per second squared.
yeah, but in the AD&D second edition prime material plane, you reach terminal velocity at 200 feet. So 201 feet and 5,000 feet by the rules, same damage. Which is fine. Because usually that'll kill you no matter what.
I don't like it's again, somebody's going to argue with me. Well, you keep saying it's a game. It's a game. I get it. It's a game. I don't like the rule because that means low level characters die by tripping over their own 2 feet, and high level players can just accidentally fall off a cliff, get up and run away. I don't like that dichotomy.
That is the inherent problem with a level-based system.
Sure, and I get that. I do. By the way, yeah. I do play it by the rules, but it's something that I've never fully liked. I've included things like where I've created critical charts for this and so forth, and to varying degrees of success. We'll just say there's no hard and fast good way of doing it, other than this is what the rules of the game are. Let's do it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, but because this game, the person who wrote this game, or this part of it anyway, knew you would be here, we have this last paragraph. People have actually fallen from great heights and survived, albeit very rarely. The current record holder, as of the writing of this book, Vesna Volovic, survived a fall from a height of 33,330 feet in 1972, although she was severely injured. I believe she was a flight attendant of a plane that broke apart. Flight Sergeant Nicholas S. Alchemade actually fell 18,000 feet, almost 3.5 miles, without a parachute and landed uninjured. Now, obviously, he landed not on concrete. He landed on
water.
The side of a mountain. He landed on the side of a snowy mountain, kind of angled the okay. Yeah, there's lots of things, but it is survivable. Just don't bet any money on it, because you'll not only lose your money, you'll also be dead. Paralysis. A character or creature affected by paralysis becomes totally immobile for the duration of the effect. The victim can breathe, think, hear, and see, but he's unable to speak or move in any manner. Coherent thought needed to trigger magical items or innate powers is still possible. But remember, casting spells is probably not, because most spells require at least a somatic or verbal component, and when you're paralyzed, you can do neither. Paralysis affects only the general motor functions of the body and is not the ultimate destroyer of powerful creatures. Remember, when you paralyze someone, you don't stop their heart from beating. You don't stop their diaphragm from breathing. You don't stop all that stuff. It's just their major, skeletal muscle groups. That's it. So don't get all weird about it, right? Energy drain. This is a feature of powerful undead and other particularly nasty monsters. The energy drain is a particularly horrible power since it causes the loss of one or more experience levels.
This will cause more players to quit the game than dying than anything else in this game.
Yes. Players hate this. If you do this to a player, there is a base 50% chance the player will walk away and never return.
Or we'll walk away from that character if nothing else.
Yeah, and never ever return. I don't use it.
Well, I do.
I don't use it. I use it to take away strength or con or something else, character ability wise, not levels.
I'll absolutely use it, because if a player's going to cry about that stuff, then the player can go, I don't care. I don't have time for that nonsense. With that said, I also make sure that they have access to things like, is it restoration or whatever else? They're just not going to have it immediately. Yes, you are going to suffer a temporary setback. That might suck. Suck it up, Buttercup. That's my mentality towards it. I don't use a lot of these undead. Remember, I'm the necromancer guy. I love undead. I use undead all types of ways. But I also understand what they do. And so, long story short, use it. This doesn't guarantee you restoration at the end. What I'm saying is I make sure that these things are available. And if you get them, you get them. If you don't, you don't. But yeah, sometimes you just happen to be energy drained. Does second edition in the player's handbook actually describe what really happened, or not what theoretically happens with energy drain, or is it just rules?
It's just rules.
Okay.
But the rules are crappy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Garbage rules. Mean toward the player. For example, the character's experience points drop to halfway between the minimum needed for his new post-drain level and the minimum needed for the next level above his new level. So you don't lose that level and go just below. You go halfway down into the lower level. On top of that, multi-class and dual class characters lose the highest level first. If both are equal, you lose the level of the thing that's hardest to get back. The one requiring the greater number of experience points to get back. That's just mean. That's mean. I don't like it. That's just me. All powers and abilities gained by the player character are lost of this former level, until you get it back. A character drained to 0 level but still retains hit points, that character's adventuring career is over. He cannot regain levels and has lost all benefits of the character class. The adventurer has become an ordinary person. A restoration or wish spell can be used to allow the character to resume his adventuring career. If a level 0 character suffers another energy drain, he just dies. I don't like that either. A character
How many
is
times are
drained
you
to
getting
less
level drained?
If the character is drained to less than 0 levels, thereby slain, he returns as an undead of the same type 2d4 days later. The newly risen undead is the same character class abilities he had a normal life, but with only half the experience it had at the beginning of the encounter with the undead who slew it, which is double what he had before.
But you get all those other cool powers of like being able to turn other people into the
Yeah. The new undead is automatically an NPC. His goals and ambitions are utterly opposed to those he held before. Well, maybe not. It depends on the dude, right? He possesses great hatred and contempt for his former colleagues, weaklings who failed him in his time of need. I get that. Indeed, one of his main ambitions may be to destroy his former companions or cause them as much grief as possible, or turn them into him. Furthermore, the newly undead NPC is under the total control of the undead who slew it. If this master is slain, its undead minions gain 1 level for each level they drain from victims until they reach maximum hit dice for their kind. Upon reaching full hit dice, these undead are able to acquire their own minions by slaying characters. Okay. So for some reason, the book decided to create story arcs about this. Okay, fine. So this is what happens. Level draining undead. What, a wraith, right? A wraith can do it?
Wraith can do it, yeah.
Wraith can do it. Oh no, let's just say ghost, because that's 10 hit dice.
Ghosts age people. They don't drain.
Okay, wraith.
Specters, wraith.
Okay, let's just say a wraith is a 5 hit die creature. So, you get killed by a wraith, brought to 0 level, and then touched again and brought to below 0. You're dead. 2d4 days later, you wake up. You are 2 hit dice. That's what you are. It's half the hit dice rounded down. You're 2. But you are a minion of the wraith that killed you. If that wraith is slain, then every time you drain a level for someone, you gain a hit die until you get to 5. After that, then if you kill somebody, they become your minion. That's how it works.
It's such a beautiful
Yeah,
rebirth death cycle.
circle of unlife.
Circle
Circle of
There
unlife,
you go.
people. That's how it is. All right. Poison. This is an all too frequent hazard faced by player characters. Bites, stings, deadly poisons, drugged wines, bad food, all await the character. Spiders, snakes, centipedes, scorpions, whatever. The strength of different poisons varies wildly and is frequently overestimated. The bite of a greatly feared Black Widow, talked about this, kills a victim in the United States only once every other year. Only about 2% of all rattlesnake bites prove fatal. On the other extreme, there are natural poisons so intense in lethality, basically Australia. Australia's poison is lethal. Just if you're bit by anything in Australia.
No, read the frog thing, because this is why, I had Kevin laughing about licking the frog. This is why you don't lick the frogs. Finish that paragraph
don't
there.
Lick frogs. Don't
lick the frogs.
Don't lick frogs. It's fine. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't think it has a.
No, it did in that top paragraph.
Oh, really?
On the second column.
Oh, the golden arrow poison frog, the western taipan snake, and the stonefish all produce highly deadly poisons. Yes. If a frog is a neon color
and this big,
find someone you don't like and tell them to pick it up.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to not like him for very much longer. Because he'll probably be frogs. Dead. Because most poison neon frogs are contact poison, and then the person just dies. It's fine. It's fine. Paralytic poisons leave the character unable to move for 2d6 hours. Remember, your breathing doesn't stop, your heart doesn't stop, your bowels don't immediately release or anything stupid like that. You just can't move your skeletal muscles, and that's it. Okay, you're fine. 2d6 hours, though, is anyone can do anything they want to you, and all you can do is look and feel it. That sucks. Debilitating poisons weaken the character for 1d3 days. All the character's ability scores are reduced by half during this time. All appropriate adjustments to attack rolls, damage, armor class, or whatever from the lowered ability scores are applied during the course of the illness. Furthermore, the character moves at 1/2 normal movement rate. Finally, the character cannot heal by normal or magical means until the poison is neutralized or the duration has elapsed. You are very susceptible to basically everything. That's what debilitating means. It's not just one area. You are debilitated in all areas. Treating poison victims. Fortunately, there are many ways a character can be treated. Several spells exist that either slow the onset time, enable the character to get further treatment, or negate it entirely. However, cure spells, including heal, do not negate the progress of a poison, and neutralized poison doesn't recover hit points already lost due to the poison. In addition, characters with herbalism proficiency can take steps to reduce the danger poison presents to player characters. In the skill herbalism, you get bonuses to save, and the poison lasts half as long or whatever. It all depends on, on what you're brewing. Now, healing. There's two types, natural and magical. Let's look at healing generally. Once a character is wounded, his player will naturally want to get him healed. Characters can either heal by natural or magical means. Natural healing is slow, but is available to everyone. Magical healing may or not be available, but it's damn quick. The only limit to the amount of damage a character can recover through healing is the total hit points the character has. The character cannot exceed his hit points in healing. Duh, that's your maximum. You can't go over your maximum. Natural healing. Characters naturally heal at a rate of 1 point per day of rest. Rest is defined as low activity. Nothing more strenuous than riding a horse or traveling from one place to another. Fighting, running in fear, lifting a boulder, or any other physical activity prevents resting. Therefore, it strains old wounds, and therefore, you don't heal. If a character has complete bed rest, you can regain 3 points per day. For each week of bed rest, the character can add any constitution hit point bonus he might have to the base of 21 points, 3 points per day he regained during the week. So 1 week of bed rest will give you 3 points per day. That's 21 points. And if you have a constitution bonus for hit points, you get that on top at the end of the week. So +1, +2, +3, +5, depending if you're a fighter. Boom, you'll get that extra. But that's not a lot, Heathen Dog. I agree. But that's
How long?
natural healing.
Yeah, how long does it take you to heal? I mean, I don't know if I still do, but I definitely used to heal fast. People used to remark on that. My wisdom teeth, for example, healed much faster than my doctor was prepared for. I remember that whole conversation. But it still took a couple of weeks at least. You know, like I've had sports injuries. My shoulder's gone weird, from throwing sandbags, whatever. Those aren't things that just like, oh, tomorrow I'm fine. Sometimes they are, but those aren't real injuries then. You know, I've pulled hamstrings, I've twisted my knee, I've messed up my ankle, all the stuff, playing sports as a kid. And usually I was out for a couple of weeks. Guess what? If you've got 20 hit points and you're recovering 3 per day because you're doing bed rest, or 1 per day, yeah, it could be 20 days before you healed, fully. You're not feeling the effects of it. You're not tight. You're not whatever. Yeah, that's legit.
Yep. And then there's cheating. I mean, magical healing. Healing spells, potions, and devices can speed the process of healing considerably. By using these methods, wounds close instantly and vigor is restored. The effects are immediate. Magical healing is particularly useful in the midst of combat or in preparation for a grievous encounter. Remember, however, that the character's opponents are just as likely to have access to magical healing as the player characters. Healing is not, of itself, a good or evil act. Healing is just healing. Remember that under no circumstances can a character be healed to a point greater than his hit point total. Again, even with magic, you can't break the laws of the universe. Herbalism. Characters can also gain minor healing benefits from those proficient in the arts of herbalism and healing. These talents are explained in Chapter 5. This is the skill of herbalism, and you can create an herbal tonic to increase healing better than base, but still much less than magic. Death. When you reach 0 hit points, you are dead. There it is. But there's different kinds of dead. There's mostly dead. And then there's dead. We're going to talk about
one of my biggest issues from Dungeons and Dragons, and I know we've got some comments about level-based systems. We got comments about other different aspects of the game. I don't think this is about level-based here. Is I don't like the whack-a-mole. I don't like the fact, let's just arbitrarily say 20 hit points, because I said it a moment ago. At 1 hit point, you're still up and fighting, no big deal, no problems, no anything, is they're dead. I call it the whack-a-mole thing. Heal, up, not heal, down. Heal, up, hit again, down. I can't stand that. That's always been a complaint of mine from Dungeons & Dragons. I get it. That's the rules of the game. That's how you're supposed to play it. But I despise especially when you have a lot of hit points, that at 1 hit point, you're still perfectly fine, but at 0, you're just ultimately donezo. So when people have made house rules of like -10 or negative constitution, or like what I do, which is
system shock rolls.
I love system shock rolls. Yep. I do something where so you're -1 when you're at 50% of your hit points, you're at -1 to all rolls, and when you hit 25% of your hit points, you're at -2 to all of your rolls, just to add a little penalty in there. I know there's a house rules, but I just despise that whack-a-mole up down of D&D.
I understand. Let's talk about poison. Poison complicates this situation somewhat. A character who dies as a result of poisoning may still have active venom in his system. Poisons remain effective for 2d6 hours after the death of the victim. If the character is raised during this time, we're going to talk about that in a second, some method must be found to neutralize the poison before he dies again. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
And then die again. He must immediately roll a successful saving throw versus poison over again, or suffer all the effects of the poison in his body, as per the normal rules. And usually you're not raised with full hit points. So yeah, you could just die right away. Okay, that sucks. Massive damage. Here we go. This is all dead. This is not mostly dead. This is all dead. In addition to dying when you hit 0, a character also runs the risk of dying abruptly when he suffers massive amounts of damage. A character who suffers 50 or more points of damage from a single attack must roll a saving throw versus death or die. I love this. I love it. Players hate it, but I love it. This applies.
I misread this rule.
Hang on. This applies only if the damage was done by a single attack. Multiple attacks doing a total of 50 points of damage don't require a saving throw. This is a single massive attack. Excuse me. If you are hit by a trebuchet boulder and you're a level 20 fighter with 140 hit points and it does 100 damage to you, without this rule, you'd be like, oh, 'tis but a flesh wound. No. You died, dude. You can die from that. You just get squished like grape. That's it. If the saving throw is successful, the character remains alive. Of course, all that damage. If it fails, the character immediately dies from intense shock. You can still be raised in normal ways, however. Inescapable death.
Well, hold on. Can we stop for that for a second? Because I've misread that rule for many years. I probably just glanced at it one time or something, went with it. Or I house ruled it so long ago that I don't remember that I misread the rule. Because I have always done, if you take 50% of your total hit points in one hit or more. So I didn't care if you had 6 hit points and you took 3 or more, or if you had 60 hit points and took 30 or more. If you took 50% of your hit points in one attack, I make you make a system shock roll.
Okay, well, this one
It says 50 points or more.
50 points or more, and it's a saving throw versus death.
Right,
System shock.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a saving throw versus death, not a system shock.
Okay, hold on. What's the system shock one then? I know there's one for system shock.
Okay, what page is this? This is 141. All right, hang on.
Shock.
There we go. Dex, strength, constitution.
It doesn't say it there. Yeah, it doesn't say it in
System
Constitution.
shock. Here we go. System
It
shock.
doesn't say it there.
Oh.
Huh.
States a percentage chance of character to survive magical effects that reshape or age his body. Petrification, polymorph, magical aging, etc. Apparently, in 2nd edition D&D, damage is not a system shock thing.
I've been doing that for as long as I can remember.
It could be in 1st edition. System shock is linked to damage. It could be in 1st edition.
Interesting. All right. Well, I still like the way I do it, so I'm not going to change. But
all right. Inescapable death. There are occasions when death is unavoidable, no matter how many hit points you have. A character will be locked in a room with no exits, with a 50-ton ceiling descending to crush him. He could be trapped in an escape route box filled completely with acid. These are examples of extreme and grisly, but they could happen in a fantasy world. If you are in a death trap and you don't get out, you die.
But I have 100 hit points, so that means I should be able to last at least a few rounds. No.
You didn't get out. You died. Sorry. It's the way it is. Sometimes you just die. But there's a chance you can come back. Curative and healing spells have no effect on the dead. They can only be returned with Raise Dead or Resurrection spell. Each time a character is returned to life, the player must make a resurrection survival roll based on their current constitution. If the die roll is successful, rolling equal to or less than the percentage chance, the character is restored to life in whatever condition is specified by the spell or device. Each spell and device does it differently. You are up to 1 hit point. You are half hit points. You are max hit points. You are fully healed of all things and everywhere, and everyone's happy and dancing. A character restored to life in this way has his constitution permanently lowered by 1 point. This can affect hit points. Should the character's constitution bonus go down, the character's hit point total is reduced by that amount, if affected. When the character's constitution drops to 0, he can no longer be raised. He is permanently removed from play.
And
that's it.
Never mind.
That is all. So now we know how damage works, how healing works, how coming back to life works, poison, paralyzation, all that stuff. Now we understand. Do we agree with a lot of it? Yes. Do we agree with all of it? No. But
I mean, it is a game, and if you're going to play it, play by the rules. And why do I keep harping on that, even though I change all the rules? You do what you want at your table. But because it's a game first. I know it's a role-playing game. I know a lot of us, like, Heathen Dog, we're more theater of the mind, so we want more of those role-playing aspects in there. But the game is the framework around what you are playing. I am a firm believer that the first time you play something, you have to play it rules as written, because you don't know how things are going to affect the game long-term. And then as you become more accustomed with the rules, you find things that work out for you to make some of the changes that we've talked about throughout this. But it is a game, and that game is what I say. Everybody kind of rallies around. How many millions of different ways are there to play Monopoly? That house rules, so to speak. But there really is only one set of rules that you're supposed to be playing by. Now, what you do at your own table is your own business. But please remember that it's a game first. And if you don't like how this game operates, as Darius over there on Rumble, he doesn't like level-based games. I get it. Then just find the game that's for you. But play the game as intended. Spirit, the spirit of the game.
What do we have for comments?
I only starred one because they got quiet. We still have people watching, but everybody got quiet. Apparently, they're all making their saving throws versus death right now. Apparently, that dude landed in a peat bog.
Oh yeah, the sergeant, the flight sergeant. Yep.
So, on the Rumble side, like what he said,
must have belly flop, because if you land from terminal velocity into a peat bog, in any kind of dart-like fashion, you're just dead from drowning. Because you're not getting out of that. I've been in a peat bog.
Tuck and roll. Yes, you have.
I've been in a peat bog, and if it takes you, you're gone. That's it.
Darius also said, this is why it's important to learn how to miss the ground.
Yeah.
That was for falling damage.
Yep. Hey, if you can miss the ground, that's called flying, by the way.
Flying, gliding, feather fall.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. There's ways you can miss the ground. Ground failed its attack on you.
There we go. But at least the book was accurate. It's not the fall that kills you. It's the sudden stop at the end.
Exactly.
All right. It looks like I paged through the books. It looks like you have 2 weeks. Well, I know you have one more today. You're going to be talking about treasure next, but it looks like you have 2 weeks left. What are you going to be talking about in upcoming videos here?
Oh, geez. I don't know, man. Why you got to do that?
Okay. Well, next you're going to be talking about treasure.
Yes. Treasure. And it's not going to be a long one. It's going to be a short one, because treasure is mostly handled by the DMG.
Oh, we're not going to go through table Q?
No, we're not going to go through table Q.
Table B?
Or table B. Or table C or A, or all those tables. We're not doing that.
All right.
From the player's perspective of treasure.
And how to award it, and even how to divvy it up. Ooh.
No, that's a dungeon master's job.
Well, the awarding, yeah, but the divvying up.
Oh, the divvying up is the dungeon master leans back and watch them eat each other.
Lord of the Flies. All right. Well,
Exactly.
With that, again, we got a couple of comments in here. You may a couple of things that we presented there that you may or may not agree with. Please leave a comment with your thoughts. Again, timestamp that so we know what the heck we were talking about. Especially if you make a comment a year from now and we're like, I don't know what the hell we talked about during that episode. What are you complaining for? Timestamp it. Let us know your thoughts. And with that, see you next time.